Welcome to the Wodesman podcast, catching up with all things bushcraft, wild camping and the great outdoors.
So hello guys, and welcome to the first episode of the Wodesman podcast for the year 2024, and a big thank you to all of you for listening and tuning in. This episode is actually recorded just before the Christmas festivities and New Year, about a week before, when myself, Tom, Back Garden Bushcraft, and Owen, OB Outdoors, met up for a really nice camp. Emma and Ellie were there, so we both had our respective partners. And it was a really nice time to catch up after such a long hiatus through 2023. It was a really busy year, obviously Tom with his new job, myself with loads of self-employed stuff going on. And to be honest, with Tom getting his Woodland, he's been spending loads of time down there, which is absolutely justifiable. So it was a really nice time for us to get together and meet up for this camp out trip, which you're going to hear just shortly after this brief introduction. So to kickstart off the episode, I just wanted to again wish everyone a very happy new year, and also kickstart with a bit of a tradition here on the Wodesman, which is Busholutions. So I'm not going to share my Busholution, which is my New Year resolution for bushcraft, because I'm going to hold back until you guys have sent in some of yours, and I'm with Tom so that we can both share our ones together along with yours. So as always, if any of you guys have any New Year's resolutions to do with your outdoor journey, bushcraft, hunting, overlanding, van life, wild camping, hiking, anything like that, send it in. Send us exactly what your plan for this year is, what goals you have, what you want to crack, and if there's anything that we can do to help you. So if we can do an episode discussing firelighting, or if we can do an episode discussing foraging or navigation, shelter building, anything like that, please let us know and we'll do our best to help you fulfill your Busholution. So until next time, thanks again for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the episode coming ahead, and yeah, stay safe, have a great 2024, and I can't wait, like I'm sure Tom can't, to hear your Busholutions.
The Wodesman podcast is proud to bring you a unique opportunity from the State Detective, whose mission is to source and offer their followers some of the best beef products on the market. Use the code Wodesman20 to receive 10% off of your order, and also award 10% to help support the Bearded Fisherman, a UK-based charity helping those suffering with mental health issues. So whether you're in the market for beef jerky, biltong, incredible sauces, ration packs, tanks, warships or flyboys, and also love bushcraft, cooking, hunting or fishing, check out the State Detective. It's terribly British.
So, hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Wodesman. I am here with co-host and all-round legend, Liam.
How you doing, buddy?
I am very, very well, thank you, mate.
Good. It's been a long time.
Been a long time since we sat next to each other, and actually, we have a special guest opposite us as well. So who have we got with us?
Go on, introduce yourself.
I am Obi. I'm OB Outdoors. Oh, hang on, let me start there again. I'm Owen and I'm OB Outdoors. I tried to combine the two of those, but that didn't work out well, and I'm sat across from these beautiful gents.
It's an honour to have you here, dude, honestly.
It's an honour to be here with both of you, and to be here at your Woodlands, Tom. Thank you for inviting us and having us.
Literally any time, mate. So we've had Owen on the podcast. We've had Owen on the podcast before. None of us can speak today, can we?
I know, yeah.
It's been a jolly old trip.
It has been a jolly old trip. We've had lots of beverages and just good times, really, because we've all had things going on. It's stopped us sort of recording and getting around the fire together. So we finally got together.
It's nice. It's so nice.
Lovely.
It's great that you share this woodland with us and invited both of us down.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got Emma with you, I've got Ellie with me. They're tending to the roast potatoes in the background.
They are. It's like we're just goofing off in the background and they're doing all the work, so thanks to them for sorting our dinner.
Talking about goofing off, should we?
I think let's do it.
I mean, I've been a bit eager, so I'm going to pretend.
Owen's already skied half of his.
There's a
I can
third.
tell I'm like the alky.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
A nice faith, Northern Monk.
So yeah, we got a Northern Monk Pale Ale.
An IPA.
Yeah, it's just really, really nice, because I think the last time we had Owen on the show was back in the Bushcraft show, not this year, the year before.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's right.
You couldn't come to the Bushcraft show last year,
Nope.
or this year rather.
This year, yeah.
So it was last year, yeah. And what a show it was, and what a great time. But a lot's happened since then, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. It has.
Obviously, one big thing that I'd like to just say, and I know he was a very dear person to all of us, was obviously a loss of a really special person, Bill Kincaid. So he was featured in all of our videos, I believe. And he was 76 years old, an absolute legend in the community.
Complete gent. Like, what a lovely, lovely man, and an inspiration to us all.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of pay tribute to him with this episode. And kind of commemorate him, because he sadly passed away about a month and a half ago, and there was a lot of our community there at the funeral, and it was just a nice send-off, and it would mean the world if any of you are religious or anything like that. Keep him in your prayers, and if not, just think of him when you're out bushcrafting. He was one of these people who loved the outdoors, didn't he?
Yeah.
So eager to learn.
Yeah, that's it. Me and Steve sadly couldn't come, State Detective sadly couldn't come to the funeral, but we were here. I was up in Sussex doing some woodland stuff, management, and when Steve joined me, we lit a candle that burned throughout the entire night.
Yeah, I know you sent me a picture and a video of that.
It was really special, actually, and we just thought of Bill, and it was like he was with us around the fire again. So just wanted to kind of throw that in at the beginning, and just because that was quite a big hit, as you know, the
within
UK
the community,
wasn't it?
within our community, that was a massive hit, because within a sort of a short period of time, I think he was there around the time of the Craig's first
community camp
at the ranch, that is. And from then he just touched, within that short period of time, he managed to touch so many souls, and everyone naturally loved him.
I mean, if you ever met him, you couldn't not love him. He was just such a lovely fellow.
And bushcraft in a way kind of brought this new energy out in him, because he for his little bit of backstory, he had a brain tumour, so it really knocked him back in his health kind of in his early 70s, and he was really healthy up until that point, and then it kind of really took him as a kind of a really hard blow, and bushcraft gave him that new lease of life, and he always said that he'd have gone like a few years ago if it hadn't been for the adventures
people,
and for the spirit.
And it was the community, really, I think, because bushcraft, I think, for the most part of us, I think we've all kind of followed it within our lives without even realising it, and then we kind of reach a certain point where we go, okay, so what we've been doing is bushcraft. Okay, so that's actually got a name for it. I think Bill was one of these people who's been doing it most of his life. He probably realised a lot earlier than us, but I think the community and like everything, like every time that we went on a camp with him, he would say, you know, it's you guys that keep us going. You know, like for the likes of you two, like the whole community, giving him something to move forward towards the next camp, the next event, whatever. That's his thing, and he would always say, you know, I may not make it and to the next one. It was always like, yeah, you will, Bill, you'll make it with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he always did. And it was,
and I remember that was like one of the last things he said to me. He said I can't wait to see you for that for that duo camp, lad. And I was just like thinking, yes, we're going to get it. And unfortunately he didn't ever make it to that duo camp, and I know that was kind of heartfelt through a lot of the people in the community. We all had a lot of plans and just such a limited amount of time with him. And I know you spent, Tom, a really intimate session doing firelighting with him, didn't you?
Yeah, and I wish I'd got a chance to do more of that. But we were at the Bushcraft show, and it was me and you having a chat with Bill, and we were sitting and we were just chatting with him for ages, and then he said, I'd really like to learn some skills that I can take with me when I do go.
Yeah, special moment.
And I sort of looked at him and he looked at me, and I was like, let's do it. So I went and got my stuff, and we did flint and steel, we did ferrocerium rods, all different types of tinders and materials and how to prepare them all. And bless him, he cut himself on my new knife.
Yeah, bless him.
And he was bleeding everywhere, and he just carried on going. and he just wouldn't hear of me even stopping to put a plaster on his fingers, because he just was so fixed on learning and living in that moment of enjoying just the community aspect of sharing a skill with someone and enjoying the learning process, and that will always stay with me, like really will.
Yeah, he was always an advocate of sharing skills, sharing stories, and just having that little cheeky smile when he looked over at the fire. He'd be sat by it, kind of just.
He'd have a chuckle. Wouldn't he?
He'd always have a little chuckle at us young'uns, kind of having a great time, because he was on the other end of of the journey, and he'd kind of sit there, and I guess it was bringing him back to those times and those memories that he had with friends, and similar things. So a really kindred spirit, and I guess that's, again, like we always say on this podcast, it's what bushcraft's about, isn't it? It's why it's special having these moments, like with you down here, Owen, as well.
I mean, for us, it is about the people and the bonds you make with people, and just that sort of experience and that memory that you make. I mean, we've all made memories today. I mean, me and Owen nearly got squashed by a falling tree today, because Liam texts me, he's like, I'm at the gate of the woods, so I'm like, we'll walk up, go and let Liam in, and literally 10 metres in front of us, a tree. It didn't fall down fast, did it? It was almost like a comedy sketch.
A graceful
It just went straight across the path 10 metres in front of us, and we were like, well, that happened. Stepped over it and went and let Liam in, then got the chainsaw out to sort it out.
It's quite a lucky little strike of events, because, a few steps forward, it could have been a different story.
Could have been a different story. I mean, to be fair, it came down so slowly that
you could have
stepped back, but it was just one of those surreal moments, and then it supplied us with firewood. So, I mean, and that was just on the track. It wasn't even in my woods. So I had to text the owner of that woods. I was like, tree's just come down. I'm going to sort the track. I'm going to clear the track. And he's like, oh, cool, yeah, no worries. And then you rescued me, didn't you, today? That was another funny memory.
Yeah, well, you've Yeah, so you've obviously invested in a new car, haven't you, Tom?
I have, yeah. I mean, me and Emma, we were in our Peugeot on the way to the woods.
Sorry, Emma, not just Tom.
And a van just didn't stop and went straight into the back of our lovely little Peugeot.
Yeah, and that was right on your journey to this woodland. Wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So it totaled the car. I mean, it got written off. I mean, I didn't think it would get written off, but it really did.
I guess the chassis damage was
it had bent in all the metal, so they obviously thought it would cost too much to repair.
Yeah, beyond the economical value, isn't it? I guess at that point, you as an insurer, they're just like, right, it's cheaper for us to just give you the money for the value of the car.
So
we've upgraded.
Yeah. We've got a bigger car now, because we were just using a little Peugeot and it just wasn't cutting it for these trips.
You're part of the 4x4 crew, aren't you?
Yeah, so I got a Honda CR-V, and it's a lovely car. Yeah. It's not obviously a Land Rover or an off-road car. It's an SUV. I mean, it's got loads more space in it, and it does have four-wheel drive, but it's sort of like
it's like
soft four-wheel drive. It's not hardcore four-wheel drive.
Yeah, but it gets you out of trouble, and it just gives you more space, because I know your car used to always be rammed.
Yeah, I mean this one we got loads of camping gear, chainsaws, bark to do a project in the woods, loads of stuff, and there was still room to spare. But I mean, today having the four-wheel drive actually got us into trouble more than rescuing us, because the Peugeot would never have got to where we got the four-wheel drive car today. It just would have looked at it and gone nope. But the Honda got up this clay bit, which we park on often, but it's we just underestimated how boggy it was underfoot, and
something
literally it just the 4x4 got us in far enough that it was an issue to get out, and then it sunk. So I had to text Liam, was like, can you chuck in some tow cables? So
yeah, definitely. I mean, as soon as I pulled up, that was the first task, wasn't it? Kind of say hello, get you out, get you free, and then kind of carry on. It was just it's so funny how wet everything has been these last few months, and it's so understandable, because even a capable vehicle like the CR-V, even my truck, if I got one of the wheels stuck without a differential lock, especially with like limited slip discs, the problem is if one wheel's stuck, the other one kind of spins, and you kind of need the one that's stuck to spin. So it's kind of a backwards technology sometimes. But no, it's great to be here, and although it's wet, it's kind of like we've nicknamed it Mini Som, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I mean, I don't know if anyone caught the video I did with State Detective, but I had a bit of a rude awakening in the night when I was camping with Steve. I'm sure we'll have him on the podcast at some point and tell the story in full. But effectively, I woke up because I was like, why is my hair wet? And I was like...
And you haven't got long hair?
No, I was like, this is odd. I was like, wait, my pillow's wet too. And then I was like, actually, my ground sheets
You were kind of sending
on
me
a waterbed.
real-time status updates of this as well.
So effectively what's happened is the ground had reached saturation point. Now the whole woods is a slope down to the stream.
And it's clay-based.
And it's
isn't it?
clay-based. So the water had nowhere to go. It hit the clay, couldn't go through the clay, it sat on top of the topsoil and then just ran downhill. And the whole woodland's on a slope, and all of it runs through my woods. So even the farm runoff was all running downhill. And effectively nowhere in the woodland was safe. So if I had been ground dwelling anywhere in the woods here, I would have got soaked. Anyway, it was the funniest night I've had because I was effectively floating. My ground sheet was like a waterbed, and I was sending Liam videos. I was like, well, this is interesting, this is novel. Luckily for Steve, he had a army raised bed.
Yes, yeah. There's a good bit of kit there, and it definitely came in clutch on that trip.
It did.
Didn't it?
So he was luckily quite okay because he was off the ground.
Always prepared, you see, old chap.
Yeah, always dropping in behind enemy lines and all that. But no, I was. I mean, I stayed dry amazingly.
Well,
personally, I didn't get cold or wet.
And I didn't want to interrupt you a second ago, but that is hands down testament to that Fjällräven poncho.
Yeah.
That ground sheet.
I know.
That thing was honestly, when Tom says a waterbed. When Tom says a waterbed, it was literally like...
You could slosh it.
Yeah, it was rippling at the top, underneath, but the top was bone dry, so he was like, hey, look at this. And then you kind of zoomed out and you could see the ripples.
What was the sleep system that you had in
So I had
place?
a poncho ground sheet, and then I had a reindeer hide down, and then a sleeping bag and a pillow.
Right, okay, so you were pretty minimal.
And you were down sleeping bag?
It was luckily not. It was synthetic.
Synthetic. Because you're always down normally.
And I was just like, well, this is fun. And to be honest, I just took it as a learning experience and also as a bit of fun. I mean, I survived the night. My hair got a bit wet. My reindeer hide soaked up so much water at one end.
I remember you wringing it
that I had to like wring it out.
Wow.
And it was just the wettest night I've ever had. But anyway, since then,
So reminiscent.
it's still rained constantly here.
has.
So it hasn't stopped. It rained today, it rained yesterday. It's just rained non-stop for like the last month or two here. And so obviously all that clay is just still absolutely at saturation point.
It
So
is.
Ellie has just been playing in the mud basically today, hasn't she?
She's a true potter, yeah. I mean, she found clay and she was well away, so she's been, titter-tattering with her feet, having right old fun. So it's good to see her having a nice time, and it's nice for her and Emma to be able to spend some time in the woods together because they love it, don't they?
So they're doing the cooking at the moment, but you might hear every now and then a little laugh and stuff because they're just in the background having a whale of a time, which is lovely. So.
Yeah, it's been nice, and like going off of the wetness, I just wanted to say that was so reminiscent of my trip to Scotland because when I was up there, the rains came in and my bed started floating and I had to move camp. I think I moved camp 3 times on that trip.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience. So I know exactly where you're coming from. It's
What part of Scotland was this?
Galloway. So
Galloway,
that was just kind of near Newton Stewart kind of area. The Galloway National Park, and what a beautiful place. I know me and Tom have spoken a few times about
We'll get there eventually.
Scotland, and we
will
need to
definitely
get up
do that
because it's one of those little havens, but ever so wet. And even on the drive down here, it was incredible how much water you could see in some of the woodlands. So you're not alone.
Crazy.
You're not alone.
Every woodland in the whole area is flooded. It's just unbelievable. It's unprecedented. It's mad.
Has it been wet near your area?
Yeah, it has.
as well,
I mean,
Owen?
talking from the drive here, going from Portsmouth to where we are today, it was just phenomenal. The amount of roads that were closed due to raining. Yeah, and
because
the
you're
flood.
further south, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, again, there was a weather warning today, so it was like 45 to 50 gusts. and rain and heavy rain, and so it was like
we've been quite lucky since
we've been pretty lucky.
All arrived. It's actually been. It hasn't rained. It's just been damp underfoot, and that's kind of to be expected. I mean, we're all rocking wellies and waterproofs, aren't we?
It's not stopped anything, has it?
No.
It's not stopped any kind of fun, anything that we kind of planned to do. So we've just got on with it, which is
what
typical British thing to do in bad weather, right?
I mean, we've had cheese, we've had some little snacks,
we've had cider, we've had Bucks Fizz, we've had Christmas snacks.
We've had a proper British kind of.
It's been just so nice, actually, just seeing everyone laughing. I mean, it's been an interesting time recently. So it's nice to just get everyone together, and like I know, Liam, you've not been very well, have you?
No,
you've had quite a few little bugs, and
we've been having that 100-day bloody cough that's been going around, and
whooping cough they call it.
Yeah, it's mental, and it's like this really crackly kind of respiratory cough, and you just can't shift it no matter what. And then that developed for me costochondritis, which is like this inflammation of the rib cage cartilage.
You were in a lot of pain, weren't you?
Oh mate, it honestly felt like I'd broken the majority of my ribs at one point, and I pretty much couldn't take it. Like I could not breathe at one point. And,
scary.
Yeah, it was awful. I kind of thought, am I having a heart attack?
Yeah.
Right now?
Well, it's nice that you're well enough to come here and hang out with us, mate. So
it's fresh air always heals the soul, and stuff like this just. Meeting up with friends, you can't beat it. I advocate all of you guys, any listeners, if you're thinking of something to do with some friends, just go out and enjoy an evening like this.
And honestly, it does really help. And when you think about it, so we had some really sad news, and it sort of it caused
you for 6, didn't it?
Yeah, and it sort of then led to me questioning even coming to the woods this weekend. I'll be honest, because it was like. I was like, can I? And then I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I did it, and I feel better for it.
Yeah.
And it gives you that space to think about things and put things into perspective, and also, send your thoughts to people, because your thoughts aren't cluttered up with all the modern society that you're normally dealing with. It's quite a pure experience, and I think it's I feel a lot better since I've walked into the woods. So if you're having a bit of a rough time, or even if you're having a good time, just go to the woods with some mates. It will help.
I've got to second that as well, because it's my therapy. This, and I do a lot of multi-day hikes, and I find just being away from it, and just when you've got your eye on the ground, or eye on the fire, or whatever you're whittling, whatever you're doing, that's like not on your technology. It's not. You can just be in your thoughts. I feel like you can process the things that you're going through a lot clearer and with a lot more clarity.
100%.
Oh mate, it's often like you can be in the most stressed situation, and then kind of even just take a walk. Literally just a walk. And be like, maybe I was looking at it a bit wrong, or contemplate, time to just think.
I mean, I've at times gone into the woods with a mindset and come out with a totally different one. And I just, you feel that weight on your shoulders just dissipate slowly throughout the night, and then you come away. I mean, it's not always going to be the case, but for some people there's severities in terms of what you're dealing with, but it can definitely help lighten the load.
I mean, and everyone else has their own haven. For some people it's not the woods. Some people I was talking to this week, they were saying they needed to get away from it all, and they were going to go up to the beach even though it was hideous weather, and it's because for them that's their safe haven, that's where they feel at peace.
Yes, where that sound of the waves or the sand or whatever gives them that solace, doesn't it? So whatever it is.
It's interesting, but whatever is your place of peace, I mean, for a lot of listeners it probably will be the woods, because it's a woodland based podcast, but wherever your place of peace, get out with some mates there and just de-stress.
Give yourself some time, because I think it's like, as well, one thing I wanted to kind of say, it just made me think about, and it's something I've been struggling with over years, to be honest, and it's something I'll be open about, but it's like, sometimes when you're doing this kind of thing, especially as a content creator, there can be that little bit of a kind of imposter syndrome, and you can feel like, actually, I guess it's the Dunning-Kruger effect again, what like Joe Price went on about, but a lot of the time you just got to remember why you started the journey you're on. Even if you're not a content creator, you kind of got to remember that I enjoy doing this because deep down inside of me, it brings me that solace, it brings me that peace, that time to kind of look back on retrospect of things. And yeah, I think everyone deals with that.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
I deal with that in terms of work and play. So, but I think it's normal. It's normal to feel like that and to question your own abilities and whether or not, like, I remember when I was even at school, I was dealing with that. I remember I got told I was going to be head boy for the school I was at. I didn't believe the teachers, so I didn't even tell my parents. Right? So about a month later, they found out at a parents' evening. Because I just didn't believe it. I was like, it's probably a sick joke. So I just didn't tell anyone. Flipping came out of parents' evening. I mean, I guess that could be another nice message. Is, even though it's hard to believe in yourself, do.
Yeah, and I think it's like maybe why a lot of people are drawn to bushcraft, because that want to question your own skill set or kind of think, am I good enough? It's kind of why we do this as well.
Yeah.
We want to test ourselves. We want to also enjoy something that has been enjoyed for many centuries before, so it kind of feels natural to us anyway.
Yeah.
But, it's amazing what...
And you can never stop learning either.
No,
I mean,
no.
like we just talked about, Bill was still asking for advice, still asking for new ways. You know, he could have continued through life with the skills that he had, but he was still eager to learn a different perspective, and that's something I sat down with him in front of a fire, and he said, I still want to continue learning because yes, I know how to do everything that I like to do, but there may be a different way about doing things that are easier or more enjoyable that I can learn. So I will continue to question you youngsters and prod you for information on what you know.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's so important, and it's like me and you have had this conversation quite bluntly with a lot of expletives, but I'm getting very bored of the sort of closed-minded attitude of there's only one way of doing things, and one way is the only way.
Zed Outdoors coins it the best. The bushcraft police come out suddenly, and it's
whoop whoop. Yeah, this is the sound of the police.
And it's just I think there is ways that are scientifically proved to be the best or most effective.
There's always going to be an effective way of doing
100%.
something. But there's also other ways of doing something.
And that doesn't stop nuance. And it's kind of like,
And some might be good for one situation, some might be good for another. For example, bow drill, right?
Yeah.
We all do the eighth of a slice, the tip of a knife to do the notch.
Yeah. I haven't always followed that.
No, so the pizza slice out of your bow drill circle.
Yep.
Right. In some cultures, they're dealing with a lot of snow. Mm-hmm. So they'll instead drill 2 holes with the bow drill spindle, and 1 hole will deposit the dust into the other hole.
I've seen that, yeah.
And it stops the dust going into the snow. So it might not be as effective a technique in England, but nuance, it has its place. Yes. And so I think that's a thing, is just do what works for you, and don't worry if it's not the same as everyone else is doing, or if it's what you've seen on YouTube. If it works for you and it's safe, do it.
And even like when we're showing something, all 3 of us around this fire right now, we're all content creators, so we all have, I guess, a sense of influence upon our viewers, but that doesn't mean that that's a direct order for them to follow that process. For example, I'll show them how I've lit a fire, or how I instruct with lighting a fire, but if someone wants to hold the fire steel in a different way or strike in a different manner, if it works for them, it works for them.
That's it. Just talking about
this. It's kind of ignorant for someone, isn't it, to say otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. It's just talking about this is what works for me, and I will show you that it works.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you that it works. This works for me, but this is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
This is just the way that I like to do it, and it works.
Yeah.
So you can follow my method, and it will work for you. But it's okay not to follow that.
Absolutely, and I think it's kind of half of the journey is kind of letting go of that
fear of failure, for one.
Definitely that fear of failure, and that want of to perfect another person's way of doing it, because although replication provides success, but mimicry kind of constricts the artistic license you can have on that. So actually you may be suffocating something that someone else hasn't actually thought about if you stop yourself experimenting.
Yeah.
And experimentation's how we got here in
It's
the
like
first place.
weirdly, I was conflicted about including the chainsaw in my video. So I'm learning how to use a chainsaw. I'm not great at it. I'm not bad at it, but I'm very careful with the chainsaw.
Absolutely.
But I am not an expert. I'm very much a beginner when it comes to any form of power tool.
But you were with a handsaw at one
Like I
point.
was with a handsaw at one point. But I am learning, and I'm doing my research in the background and reading articles and like looking at videos from professionals and asking my arborist mates for tricks, and you gave me a few tricks today. But
You're treating it with respect as a tool, aren't you?
for sure, and I've seen enough pictures of injuries with chainsaws to know what I'm dealing with, so
Oh, yes.
there's a healthy fear of it, a respect for it, not fear, and it's just manipulating it with care, I guess. But I was almost conflicted showing it in my videos because I was like, it's not bushcraft. No, it's not bushcraft, but it is woodland living.
But neither is
And-
knife making. Like,
No.
in a sense, the way we make knives now,
It's very modern.
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah,
modern,
absolutely.
and we all have one attached to our belts.
Yeah.
And we've got a Fedora backpack on.
Yeah,
and
but it's like this. Now I own this woodland, I have to manage it,
yeah.
and there are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of trees.
Well, like you said today, one came down literally on
and
the
I had
path
to grab the chainsaw out the car.
behind my truck. It came down.
Yeah, and sort it out.
We could have spent an hour, the three of us, whacking out saws, maybe longer than an hour. But how is that efficient when it
Well,
comes
you-
to management?
You and Chris, Wilderness Nomad, massive shout out to him, absolute
we did
gentleman.
it by hand.
You did an ash log there by hand, and it's got to be
Huge.
what, 18 inches across.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
big.
You'd need a decent sized bar on a chainsaw to get through it, and we did that with a buck saw and lots of sweat, and then we carved in notches with axes. We did it the old fashioned way. When I came here last weekend, saw how boggy it still was from the rain and the weather, decided it was essential we needed to get up off the ground, had the chainsaw in the car,
Yeah.
which was there for woodland management, so we used the chainsaw to build a raised bed. And like, let's be honest, if our ancestors had access to a chainsaw to make their raised bed, they would use it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And it comes, the elements are still the same. Okay, you haven't exerted the same physical effort.
Yeah.
But is there any need to when
No.
the thing is still functional?
It will never replace a handsaw for me.
No,
but
well, you're not going to carry a
it's-
chainsaw on a trip, are
No,
you?
but at the same time, it's another skill to learn and another thing I'm going to learn. But it is funny. I was actually like worried about the response of having it in my video, so I was just like, you know what, I'm worried about it, so I'm just going to own it and put it as the thumbnail.
Well, at the end of the day, it's I've always said this, and I've always been an advocate of you kind of, having the final say on your channel, because it is,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's a journey of you, and that's
Yeah.
why your followers love you. That's why when I first watched you, I was
You
like,
love me, don't even lie.
I did. It was amazing. I saw your Alcest t-shirt and I knew we had a connection straight away.
Yeah, shout out to anyone who knows who Alcest are. If you don't, go look them up if you like
Absolutely.
good music.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of stigma in the bushcraft world at points, and we have to remember that we all have a common interest, and let's not bring politics, and that goes down to even the politics of skills or gear. I mean, I had some comments on a video where I was just going out, and I can't even remember what the context of the video was.
Yeah.
I think it was I went out on in my local woodland. I was cooking up something, and I bought an axe that I had with me. I bought it for second hand, £100, and someone was like, "Oh, £100 for that axe, like, fool on you." And I was thinking, well,
No.
I just wanted to buy the axe. Like,
Yeah.
what does it matter?
Why is it
to
your
you?
problem? Yeah. I think there's a lot of that.
It doesn't.
There's a lot of that, and
It's a bit snobbery.
it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm not.
Let people do what people want.
I'm not flaunting
Don't-
my gear. That's not
No.
why I'm putting it on the video. But at the end of the day, as an enthusiast, I've built up a collection.
Of course you have. I've got a huge collection of knives, and it's not because I want to flex.
No, and I've said it a lot. I
It's
think.
not like my equivalent of a Gucci handbag.
No.
It's because I love knives. Because my life is based around the woods, and when I'm in the woods, using a knife makes me happy. So I've got a collection of the things that make me happy. So when I'm not in the woods, I can like get one out, polish it, sharpen it, get it ready for my next trip, and it puts me there. It puts me in that.
You're always cycling through
always
knives as well.
just getting in, and like I've used a knife today that I haven't used for ages. I've got 2 with me. I've got Stony Path Nesmuk, beautiful knife. Haven't used that for about a year. And I just love the patina. I love it. And then I've got my ABL Evo Pro by
knife.
Fired Wood, which is just a lovely knife. Big shout out to Josh, he's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, definitely.
And
really great.
like
maker.
we've been using that today, haven't we? And just around camp doing things. So it's just really nice. And then obviously I'm a huge fan of my Field and Steels. So it's
some
like,
people could think you're like, just flaunting that you've got knives, but it's like, well, at the end of the day.
No, it's passion. It's passion, and you don't have to have knives. You don't have to have fancy knives.
It doesn't matter.
Lots of knives.
It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're here, to provide something for the community, and everyone who's watching that is also part of the community. And we're all just, at the end of the day, we don't. There doesn't need to be that kind of that stigma in it. And it's a shame that sometimes that crosses into it. But that's, we don't want to go too deep into that, but it's nice to touch base and kind of rectify the fact that we're not actually it's not just
it's not a flex or a showing off. It's just because we're passionate. We've been in the game a long time. We've built up a lot of gear over the years by using it, and it's nice. I've given one of the knives I made to Emma.
Yeah, that was such a nice knife as well when she pulled it out.
It's like it's so nice to be able to like then pass that on, and it's just fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of the kind of skill sharing aspects of it kind of get lost in that as well, in translation with people. It's like we're just trying to share something with you as well,
Like I make my
I want to
videos
see
for
what
me.
knives that other people have got.
At the end of the day as well, like, we're all hard working people. Like, we work hard for these things. It's not like a case of we've just gone, okay, £300 on a knife. It's fine. It's just like, look at this knife. It's we put money aside. We save this thing. We work hard. Like,
that's why I don't have a house.
No, same as me.
Bloody hard for these things. So
that's why I end up with £0 at the end of each month.
So
like,
you got to respect the fact that we've worked very hard for these things. So we want to show off. We're passionate about it. It's not a case of like this is just handed to us. Like, we've worked hard for these things and we want to show them off because they are great. They're great tools.
Like, none of us have money to just throw away.
No.
I mean, I haven't changed my actual wardrobe I wear on the day-to-day. My home clothes. I've got rips in all of them. They're all tatty because I'm not as interested in how I look when I go out to the pub. I don't really give a toss if I look scruffy.
In fact, Ellie said to me, she was just like, "You're so lucky," and I was just like, "Why is that?" And it was like, obviously I knew anyway, but my mum, bless her, she got me like a new pair of shoes because she noticed that my shoes were like falling apart.
That's hilarious. My mum did exactly the same thing for me like a month ago because I was wearing the same shoes to work that I've worn for like 4 years, and they had a hole in the bottom, and she was like, "Are you going to change them?" I'm like, "Nah, they got another year in them."
That's such a typical bloke thing.
She turned up with a shoebox. She said, "I bought you some more." And I was like, "You really shouldn't have done that."
Unless you see toes hanging out the end.
Yeah, but it's like
still to go.
The only thing I like spending money on is the outdoors or like a nice meal. Like they're like the two things. And
I guess that's where I was going. It's kind of like we all have our guilty pleasures, and I think we can all agree, if you're listening to this as well, bushcraft is definitely it. So, try not to be so firm with people.
Don't judge others. Don't.
I've seen it on like other channels. I've seen it on some channels that I admire and love, like MCQ Bushcraft, and people are kind of like, "Oh, you're just using this thing," and I'm like, "Bro, have you like watched any of his background?"
I know.
He's come from the bottom to the top.
I think just a nice message would be just be kind to one another. You don't know like what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, a lot of us are out here for the same reason of trying to find peace, aren't we?
Yeah, like just give everyone a break, cut some slack, and be nice. I think
because the community can get a little bit kind of high. There's a lot of testosterone in the community. It's a lot of blokes.
Yeah.
And if you can't be kind, just don't comment. Essentially.
Yeah, agree.
So that's our little Wodesman rant, I guess. for the week.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just need to rant, don't you? To get it off your chest, and that's fine.
I'm sure a lot of you feel like that. You know, social media can be a very toxic place, and it's why I guess we all escape to the woods eventually. And it's funny that we all share our love for the outdoors through social media.
Yeah, which is like technology and the complete opposite.
Yeah. You escape it, but also want to flex on it. Like, you want to share it.
Yeah, you want to share it, exactly. You want to inspire other people, and I hope some of these podcasts and obviously journeys that we do inspire you. And obviously, Owen, you've had an awesome little journey.
Yeah.
You've been on quite a few journeys.
You have, haven't
you?
The last 5-6 months has been a storm for you.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like channel-wise, it's been a bit quiet, but I mean, if it weren't for the channel, I wouldn't be where I was now. No. And that is with a new career. I wasn't very happy with the career that I was in.
Understandable.
I was in a corporate world, and the corporate world just was not for me. And
what did you say earlier to me when I asked you how that was? You were saying about how you didn't want to grow up. You like spend your life being like downtrodden. What did you say? It's something about being downtrodden and then getting to the point where you've been promoted enough to then cause other people to feel downtrodden.
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I was saying, because I did a degree in media production, and the natural progression from that, and what they pushed was to become, go into TV production or film production, and from that you've then got, so you leave a degree, you've spent thousands, tens of thousands, and then you go into this industry where you're then like a runner, and then you are basically someone's, there's a B word but I won't use it, but someone's lackey.
Someone's lackey, yeah.
Someone's lackey, and then you work your way up to a point where then you treat others like a lackey, and I thought that's not the sort of progression in life that I want to be in. And I went into a corporate world, and it wasn't quite, it was in marketing, so it wasn't quite as bad as that, but it was still a case of like you're a bottom runner. It was like, it was just a corporate
runt of the litter until,
and it was just, it wasn't for me. So I was fortunate enough. And so I came out of university, I did that, and within 3 months, I was like, this isn't kind of where I want to be. I'm not doing I'm not doing something creative. So what can I do? So I started my YouTube channel in bushcraft and through hiking, with the mindset, and I ummed and ahed about it for a long time.
I remember you having that contemplation, like
I had a big contemplation.
At the first ranch camp, you were like,
I remember really that as well.
Heavily to and fro, and from like, should I, shouldn't I?
Why would I start a channel when I don't know like as much as anyone else on YouTube?
Yeah, because we had a chat about it, didn't we? And we were like, no, let's just do it.
Well,
that's it.
You were doing the bow drill together.
Yeah, you got your first demo.
So I took the mindset and the sort of the forwardness of like, this isn't a channel where you're going to get an expertise. This is where you're going to see someone try, fail, succeed, all sorts. You're going to get it all, and now you're going to learn with me, and I'm going to learn with you, and I fully want you within the community and within the comments to say you can do it better by doing this. And I've got to say I've had that a lot, and that's been great. But the point that I was trying to make is, through doing that for a year, I then applied for a job for a YouTube channel,
which is insane.
Yeah, TGS Outdoors, which is shooting related, but it's all outdoors, so there's hunting involved.
Me and Tom are not ever so jealous.
We're so jealous.
Phenomenal. But if I hadn't have done that channel, I shared that with my now manager, who is the presenter on that, and he liked it, and he saw that I had a genuine passion for the outdoors, and I wanted to capture the moments, which is what we are. Which is mostly, there's no gimbals or anything, so it's not smooth. It's purely capture the moments.
Yeah. Which I love, that kind of intense action. You're straight in the moment. It's no kind of theatre.
No, there's no theatre. And like within any kind of YouTube or anything that is video form, there is always a element of produceddness.
Yeah,
we all do it, and that
like
you
with
have
voiceover, for example,
exactly,
or music. You kind of try and
picking your shot,
induce
right?
a feeling, don't you?
Picking your shot, yeah.
Like earlier, I moved the food bag out of shot because we carried the food in a Waitrose bag.
Of course, we
right,
did.
and a Lidl bag.
We're in the year 2023.
We could have fitted it in our rucksacks if we'd bothered to pack them properly, but we were here just to catch up with some
And
mates.
also, if we
So-
weren't bringing stuff like baby sham and chocolate buttons that are covered in, you know, like Christmas decorations and snowmen
What was the hot
marshmallows.
chocolate you
I mean,
brought?
Oh,
It's like
I mean, it's not even Bailey's. It's from Aldi. It's called Bailey Wells. So it's like Bailey's hot chocolate, like little. They're like little Santas.
Yeah.
That we're gonna melt in
hot
some
milk.
hot milk, and if that wasn't
Absolutely.
alcoholic enough, I brought an additional bottle of Bailey's just to sort of,
just to sort us out.
just to
So
sort
like
everyone
we
out.
could be like bringing minimalistic food and stuff, but we're
Yeah.
here for a catch up with
That's
our friends and our loved ones, and it's like we're here to have a good time. So we carried the food in a little bag. So there's an element of production going in just in how I pick the shot, you know. It doesn't have the Lidl bag in it because, no offence to Lidl, but Lidl doesn't really fit with the vibe.
No, not at all. And something that I've been. He's actually on. I was gonna.
So Liam's just gone to check the food.
It's looking good. It's looking good.
Oh,
Something I've been
Checking the
excited.
Midori.
Something I've been excited to talk to you, Liam, about this is because we've talked about deer stalking like before I even got this job,
Absolutely.
and about skinning and
You've
processing
always
the
been
meat.
so interested in
I've
it.
always been interested in it, and fortunately enough, I've been able to go on trips for work, deer stalking, and not only that, but stag hunting in the Highlands of Scotland.
Amazing.
And
You lucky bugger.
I've been
He's already beat me.
so excited, and I've withheld information just so we could sit across each other and
I
talk
love that.
about this.
Yeah, because I kind of asked you what you've been up to. You hinted at it earlier, and I couldn't
Yeah.
get any more out of you. So
No, I thought I
go
wanted
on,
to
drop-
sort of sit
spill
across
the
Tell
beans.
us.
and tell you about that, because it was just the most phenomenal experience. And I've had quite a few experiences with work, and this is by far the best one yet. And you know, I've been fortunate enough to spend 9 days out in Texas, and that
Yeah.
was
I was quite
incredible.
jealous of that.
I mean, considering I'd never been to Texas or America at
What
all.
an introduction as well.
Mate.
I mean, that was incredible. But this is still my favourite filming project of all time, because the hardship that it required and what the outcome was. And so we spent what was it, four days, including travel. So we went up and we were with a company called Weatherby.
Oh,
We got
nice.
some lads from Weatherby Rifle Company.
You lucky bugger.
And we went up. We ended up getting a little bit delayed. They were muntjac stalking in Wiltshire with a friend of TGS, and so we picked them up. We went for a curry, nice,
Lovely.
typical English curry, which
Good old
is
boy.
Chicken tikka masala.
that's it. We drove up part of the way. We were meant to be checking into just any hotel we could. They're all full up, empty car parks, but they're all full, as they say. So there were 4 blokes in a transit van sleeping, as you do. Went up, did a little bit of a clay shoot in just the outskirts of Newcastle,
Amazing.
and then we got to the Highlands, and we stayed in a little place which is just off of the West Highland Way,
Oh wow.
which is where the Drovers Inn, it's called, which is, if anyone knows of the West Highland Way, that's like a typical sort of
Like
place that you
hotspot,
stay.
is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very, and it's supposed to be really haunted and stuff.
Oh nice.
So we stayed
We
there.
have to
so
ask Chris Nomad. Chris
Yeah, he's
Wilderness
just
Nomad.
done
He's
it,
just
actually.
completed.
yeah, so he
Yeah,
made
If he
that's
hasn't
how
been
it
captured by the ghost, if he's
Yeah.
made it back alright.
No, I can assure you he is back.
Yeah, good old
He's
boy.
okay.
So we stayed there. You know, we got a bit of a skin for one, just to celebrate the fact that we got there.
It's got to be done.
And the next day we
When in
set off.
Scotland, do as the Scots do, eh?
And it was just the mist came down and the rain, and we got to this place, and we got to this guy's house,
Typical.
Hamish, who was taking us on the deer stalk. He's he takes people out and
If
stuff.
there's
And
anyone in Scotland you can trust, it's a man called Hamish.
it's a guy called Hamish, right? And he had his own slow gin that he was just sipping as he went along. And he said,
Legend.
within the
Literally.
first hour, he said, "Boys, if you're here tomorrow will be better." And we said, "We're going home tomorrow." He went, "Okay, well, we're just gonna have to get on with it." And we were traversing hills of like 45 degrees, and it was just belting it down. And yeah, the lads from Weatherby out in the States, they had the state-of-the-art gear that had been sent to them to try out, and even they got wet.
I bet.
And it was just brutal.
yeah.
Like the ankles, like the angle of your ankles were just.
There is no rain like the Scottish rain.
No, and
Yeah.
the hills of the Highlands we were just traversing across were just just
Because it's like
phenomenal.
I've noticed, and like Scots may agree with this, or they may tell me I'm just not used to it because I'm a soft Brit. But you know, it seems like when it rains up there, there's it comes in, you know, two types of rain at the same time.
Yeah.
You get, it's like torrential and the mizzle at the same time.
Yeah.
time.
You know, it's like that really wet rain and driving rain at the
Yeah.
same
That's it.
time, or it's like mizzle and showering.
We
It's
should
like,
get a,
It's never just mizzle. Or
No,
it's
no,
never
no.
just fog. It's one.
It rains
both.
upwards.
Yeah.
We should get a shirt made, and it's like there's ain't no rain like
Like
Scotland,
Scottish.
and there ain't no mud like Tom's Wood.
It's very true. You can probably hear the squirrel. But was it similar?
It was. I mean, the thing is, where it's just wetlands, it's just bog, like,
Bog,
but just
Peat
grass. But
marshland.
this has, like, it's not been trodden on,
No.
so it's just a
It's
case
just like
of,
that all the time.
And being cameraman, you know, you have to be amongst them.
Yo, you
and
got
it's
to
like-
get all the shots.
The first stag that we got just come out of nowhere. It was
Yeah.
just, we will walk along, and then it was just there.
They do.
So everyone just drops to the ground, and then it shot it, came down. That was great, and then we were carried on traversing round.
Was that
and
a
then-
red stag? Was it?
There was a red stag,
Oh,
yeah,
big
absolutely
old beast.
beautiful. And I've got to say, I've never seen anything like it, and it
Huge.
is, like, you look at it and you think it's so
Service
beautiful.
edifice.
You think it is a shame, but when they say about it, you know, it's like 8 years old. This stag, and out in Scotland,
That
they
did
don't live
incredibly
much
well.
longer.
Incredibly well to get to that age.
Yeah.
You know, like I
'Cause
said
the
many
conditions.
times. Yeah.
Like down in the south, you know, it's a lot
That was a
softer
graceful
conditions.
death for it.
Yeah,
really.
exactly. I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's not going to live much longer, and you know they have a lot of domination issues out there. So
Oh, it's
But,
the rut time is a deadly time for reds.
It is, yeah.
It's they're very, very aggressive, and
Yeah.
you know they're one of our true native deers, and it's incredible because I've never been closer to a red deer than, let's say, you know, 100 meters in a park, and that's it really, in a deer park. So that's my experience with them. So it's definitely on my bucket list.
oh, and we were right at the start of the russet season. So the second deer that we
Wow.
managed to get, we
they're
were coming
really
down,
hyped up and
and we
pumped
were
up.
at the top of this hill, and everyone stayed put other than Hamish,
Good old Hamish.
guy called Kyle from Wetherby,
Sipping on a slow gin.
and then me, and I was just following. If you can hear that, it's Ellie
That's
dancing
Ellie
around in the slop.
dancing in the mud. The true potter comes out.
And we were coming down, into this valley, and either side of the valley were just stags barking and just roaring,
Wow.
like
And
roaring, should I say,
Yeah.
more barking.
An incredible
But,
sound.
and it is incredible, and it was just a case of, and we were like belly crawling through rivers just to get it, and it was a
Love
case
that.
of, do we go left or do we go right? Because there's stags there,
Yeah.
stags there,
That's
and then we
Amazing.
come along, and then managed to get into a position.
You can almost feel the pheromones going
Yeah,
through the air,
and
can't
you can, and like I'm like, bear in mind I've got to like film this. I'm trying not to shake out of like
You've got
sheer
the expensive
adrenaline,
camera on it.
and like it is pouring down. So the camera gear just got absolutely obliterated, but it was just enough survived to capture all this moment. And even Hamish, like bearing in mind he's talks quite low. He's like, yeah, we're going to traverse in this and this. Like he doesn't get excited. With this second shot, I've never seen someone just explode with energy. He's
So
just
elated.
he's like, I've never seen anything like this. He's like, 4 years I've saw this. I've never seen anything like this. And he just got exploded. He just exploded with life. He's like, there's stags there and there's stags there.
What an amazing time
That's
to
amazing.
It
capture.
was,
Yeah.
and to be able to capture
Oh, I need to
all
watch
that.
this video now.
And yeah, it will be out on TGS Outdoors soon.
Yeah, we'll give everyone a good rundown on how to find Owen and TGS Outdoors at the end of the episode.
Definitely.
But that sounds amazing because I know
Incredible.
What an experience.
I know the atmosphere when you're on a hunt, that kind of crescendo, because it is that's what kind of hooked me. It's that, and I have to thank a big shout out to Steve Ranella for kind of pushing that kind of enthusiasm with his videos, Meat Eater. You know, it's that kind of moment. You're stalking, you're out just essentially for a walk, and then you start getting signs that there's prey nearby or the species that you're looking for, and then that kind of crescendo of everything building up, and it all happens so quickly, doesn't it? And being on the camera end of that must be so hard as well to make sure you're
capture it all.
capturing
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
And
pressure.
absolutely.
I know Ellie did a wonderful job capturing
Phenomenal.
my stalks.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
I commented on that. That was
Yeah.
I thought that was filmed so beautifully.
It was.
Yeah, it's one of those like things that it's so important when you're capturing hunting, and I know you've got the very similar ethics about it. So it's amazing to know you've been on that journey, because it's kind of a dream come true for you, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the sort of thing that I dreamed of doing. So to be able to call this my job,
that's amazing.
And where did you find that job?
On Indeed.
Exactly. So literally just on a job website.
Just on a job website.
That's amazing.
As simple as a phone call. We got along, and then a trial shift. Probably got along on that then. Clearly.
So it shows you can just find these things out there. You know, it only took you to do that one Google search.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to invest in yourself as well, because that's what I did without even realising by creating my YouTube channel. I did it for me. But what I didn't realise is that I'd invested in myself. Yeah. And in what I can do.
Yeah, so, for sure.
And that was something.
It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So I'm really glad that you've got a job that you absolutely love, and it's taking you into all these amazing places. I mean, when I saw you were in Texas, I was so jealous, because when I went to the States this year, I just fell in love with it out there.
You had a good time,
didn't you? Such a great time. Shooting, hiking.
You and your brother Sam, what a great lad.
Yeah, partying, then going out and glamping right out in the sticks, like in a yurt, and see cowboys coming past with like proper side holsters on as they're going off on their horses. I was just like, this is the stuff.
Well, you just learned like a whole different way of life, didn't you?
Yeah, and we found like rattlesnakes out in the desert when we were out. we were following not a trail, we just followed the flood damage.
I love that.
And we found a rattlesnake while we were just on our own little bit of exploring in this desert area. And then we found a tarantula in Zion National Park. We went up a water canyon in another sort of wilderness area. We just loved it, and it's just so vast and so varied, and the people were so friendly, and it was just awesome. I loved it.
And a big shout out to any American viewers or listeners. Sorry, you're all in a place
you got a lovely country,
and
I can't wait to come back. And we're both wearing our hats from Bass Pro.
Bass Pro, indeed. We're repping the USA right now. Wishing we had a Glock by our sides as well. You know, keep hold of those Second Amendments.
And that might not gel with all of our UK listeners, but I mean, we're both into our firearms. We both love it, and
it's a part of.
It's also like there's also an element of the freedom of it. It's like we're seeing so much clamping down on individual liberty and stuff. So I mean,
especially in the outdoors, we don't have much freedom over here in the UK. So it's always, this big. Not a jealousy, but
it is envy.
It is envy. Yeah, it's kind of look after what you've got, because public land is something that
it's just the space
should be the norm. We've seen that with Dartmoor over here. And that's again another. If that happens, if that keeps going the way it looks like it's going, that's going to be a big loss of an ability to introduce people to the outdoors.
100%. I mean, I just think the national park system in America is amazing, and I can't wait to go to my next national park. I mean, it's going to be a while, because I got no pennies, but eventually I'll get back out there and do some more trips and go to some different places.
Well, we can forgive you. You're getting married next year.
Yeah, getting married next year. I don't know if we've actually said that on the podcast before, but we are getting married next year.
I'm sorry, I spilled the beans.
It's all right.
This isn't Tom and Liam, by the way. This is.
I mean, you'd be forgiven for thinking it might be us, but Liam is my best man. So Liam and James, who's a childhood friend of mine. I've known James for like decades. So
sounds like an awesome dude.
We've gone splitsies on the best man. We've got two best men.
We're best men, and it's
Liam and James. So Liam to sort of represent my outdoor side of my life, and James to represent the other side of my life. He's a teacher as well. So. It's going to be great fun. We're going to have a great time, and I imagine we'll be doing something fairly bushcrafty for the stag do. So that would be pretty fun.
Oh, we will indeed. We will indeed. And it's just going to be great to meet that kind of side of your life as well, and just see you progress in marriage with Emma. It's going to be really nice to see the Woodland progress.
Well, talking about progressing in marriage with Emma. I mean, Emma, is the dinner nearly ready?
Yeah, it is.
Hey!
So quickly to just before we wrap up, I wanted to share a little thing that I've been doing recently, or I did recently actually, and that was it just brought me a gratification in bushcraft that I hadn't had in a long while, and that was just sharing a skill with someone. So if there's any of your friends out there who are struggling with like fire lighting or even stringing up a hammock and a tarp, and you've got the skills to be able to just show them and pass it on, just go out and do that, because a good friend of mine wanted to try flint and steel fire lighting, traditional method, and he's Jordan, the bearded adventurer, and we had such a blast doing that together, and me teaching him and him learning.
It's so rewarding.
It's so rewarding.
You've released a video on that, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. I put out a video. It was my last one on my channel, and it just brought that sense of reward back to what I'm doing, because sometimes you can go out there and do it yourself and it's relaxing, but you kind of, again, not going too deep into it, but sometimes you kind of feel like, am I just doing this for the camera, or am I just doing this for the sake of the channel? And it's why sometimes the channel can slow down for me, because sometimes I just want to go out and enjoy it,
just have fun.
Yeah,
exactly. Because it is a lot bringing the camera and getting everything right, but
sharing those skills with people can bring a new joy to it. And you don't have to film it, but it's great to spread that love, and I guess that's why you enjoyed your trip hunting, because you're learning new things.
And I not long ago had a chance to sort of share some knowledge, which is the first opportunity for me, and I've always, up until that point, I would never volunteer myself to teach anyone, because I always thought, I haven't really got the know-how, the wealth of knowledge in order to teach anyone. But a close friend of mine, he's got some family from New Zealand that rover, and his young cousin, 13-year-old girl, she's obsessed with bushcraft but doesn't get the opportunity to really explore that in New Zealand, amazing. Which is a bit surprising to say, but so he said, would you take us out on a camp and show her a few bits? And I said, I can. I don't know what how much I can really show, but she knew absolutely nothing. So I taught her how to safely use to find birch bark.
Brilliant.
So we collected some birch bark. I got her to use a
something which
saw.
she might be uncommon with, or
exactly.
whatever. Exactly.
Yeah. Got her to use a saw. So she's she chopped up some wood as well. Got her to safely, taught her how to get on your knees, spread your legs, and then sort of proper use the axe effectively.
Nice.
And then she started collected like little twigs, like the development from tiny matchsticks to exactly.
Go through the gears.
Go through the whole gear, and then she got the fire started with the birch bark, and to see the joy and like see that you've made an impact. And I had
there forever.
Yeah, and I have a Ray Mears book, and I just thought, you know what, I've read it back, like from front cover to back, and it's just in my thought, I've got to give it to her. So I gave it to her at the end. I said, take that home.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. Like, massive props to you for that. I mean,
because that must mean a lot to you. You're a teacher, aren't you?
I mean, yeah, for sure. And
you're doing something similar coming up, aren't you?
I am. This Tuesday, actually, I'll be doing hand drill and flint napping in front of the kids. Now, I don't claim to be the best flint napper ever. I'm not the best flint napper ever. I'm fairly beginner with that as a skill, but
as are we all.
We're studying the Stone Age. So I teach history, as some of you might know. So I'm teaching the Stone Age to Year 3, and I came up with the idea of having a Stone Age day, like I did the Viking Day last year, and so I'm going to show them how actually a hand axe or an arrowhead was made. So I'm going to nap with them. They're just going to watch that bit, but I'll just do a little bit, and then I'll have examples made up.
That's brilliant.
Of them at different stages. I've got my arrows that I made as well with the pine pitch glue and the natural cordage.
I love that.
The feathers, and they can actually pass all these things around.
Yeah, those physical props mean the world to them.
Yeah,
don't they?
exactly. And then they can sit on hides, because some of them will never have sat on a hide or felt the warmth quality of.
Or felt the hair of an animal,
exactly.
Other than a dog and a cat.
Yeah. So we're going to have a whole experience day. We're going to do a little bit of tracking, play a little game,
I think
tracking
it also
game.
tempers them to that, stigma of a dead animal is a bad thing.
Yeah. And we've talked about that because
they can be vegetarian or vegan or whatever they like, but to be able to appreciate a material as a material.
Yeah.
I think
we've talked all about
essential.
Hunting and the transition from the sort of Paleolithic up to the Neolithic, and how it was originally hunter-gathering. That was how they survived, and then...
Were they quite enthusiastic?
They loved it. They all wrote a diary about the life of a hunter-gatherer and
there's hope.
what they were doing, and they were talking about... I taught them all about flint, and then we've now gone on from the Neolithic and looking at the Bronze Age even, and we were talking about how they sort of developed farming and bronze tools by mixing tin and copper.
I remember you saying some of their exams, they came out and they were given the right answers.
They were, and I was like, yes! And it was just really interesting to see how interested they all were in cavemen and women. It was just amazing.
But education's such a hard thing as it is. So in order for you, like, to be able to create such an environment where education is fun,
yeah.
you know, it's
That's
such
the real
a powerful
challenge.
tool. And you know, I think if I look back on my education, the teachers that had influence over me and the teachers that I loved are the ones that made it engaging. So for you to do that, like, you know, you are what every child dreams of having. So like, kudos to you.
Don't get a big head.
Kudos to you, because
like literally, I had a geography teacher who loved Ray Mears as well, and like that was instant. Like I was like, he's my G, he's my dude.
Yeah.
So we meshed, and he was like my geography teacher. So we like. And he'd like make subtle references in class to like people, like when we're talking about Namibia or whatever, he'd like make little suggestions and then look over at me and he'd be like, I know you know through the episode or whatever, you know, like, I know you watched that episode as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was great.
So
Shout
we're also
out Mr. Carlisle.
Love Mr. Carlisle. Oh, I wish I'd met Mr. Carlisle. Sounds like a legend. So we're also bringing in a hand drill, and they're going to have a go at just having a go. I mean, they're not going to be able to do it for long. I don't want anyone getting blisters or anything, but
no, but just to have that aesthetic and
just to
see you do it, and be able to kind of understand how the action works.
It's funny because I'd lost my hand drill set, so I realised this on when was it? It was Thursday.
Oh no.
So Thursday night, 10 o'clock, I'm outside whittling a new hand drill set because I know I have to do demonstrations on Tuesday. And I was like getting an ember. I was like, I got an ember.
I did it.
I did it.
I can't work for the next week because I got no hands.
Got blisters. No, I don't. My hands are actually alright at the moment.
Your temperature, aren't you?
Yeah, so that'll be alright. But we'll see how they hold up to doing like 10 demos of it on Tuesday. We'll see.
Wow. It will, if anything, be good practice, and I guess that's the kind of take back from this kind of episode that we all want to share, isn't it? It's kind of get out there and practice these skills and
share your skills.
Don't take anyone else's opinion to heart, because your way is as valuable as anyone else's way, and
be kind to others about what they're doing. Like give people the space to experiment and try things and learn, and
if you are going to make a suggestion, just be kind.
That's it, because the thing is that I've very much welcomed is suggestions and better ways of doing it, and I've had like numerous comments, and they've mostly all been so pleasant, and I've always made a point of comment saying thank you, like that's actually a really good mindset, or that's a really good point you've made, thank you for that. There are some people who are like, oh, you're just rubbish, and it's like,
there's always them.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll get some of them.
Let's just have a bit of constructive.
It's like with our podcast, when we started this, we said we didn't want it to have all the fancy production values. We literally just wanted it to be blokes having a chat round a campfire, and we're going to stick to that, because it is what we want this to be. This is all one take,
and I think
it is what it is.
It is,
you know, you get the unfiltered, real us, and it's not it's not produced, it's not. You can hear the girls laughing in the background. You know, that's all adding to it.
If we don't get to dinner soon, we might not make it to another podcast.
No. Emma's looking rather dangerously at me, so I think we all better go and eat the lovely chicken that they've cooked us. But I hope you've enjoyed this rather nice, lengthy catch up.
Thank you for having me on, boys.
No, honestly, where can our listeners? I keep going to say viewers because I'm so used to it, filming YouTube, but where can our listeners go and view your content and also see the awesome production work you're doing for TGS Outdoors?
For my personal stuff, it's OB Outdoors, OWBY Outdoors, and that's on Instagram and YouTube. And then the channel I've recently started working for over the last 6 months is TGS Outdoors, and that's mostly shooting related, so if you're into your guns, shotguns and rifles, that is the place to go in terms of UK. If you want Jeremy Clarkson but gun related stuff and a bit more sexy, That's the place to go.
Hey,
So,
you heard it there.
you've sold it to me. I'm going straight home to watch it.
We'll put the link in the description and the bio of the podcast. And again, like, honestly, me and Tom always say this, but huge thanks.
Yeah, like we're amazed that anyone wants to listen to us, let alone the numbers we've been getting. So thank you so much for sticking with us. And I know we're not able to do it as frequently now. We're both working so hard. Like we're both really, really busy in our personal lives, but we will record episodes as and when we can, and hopefully they will make you guys enjoy and feel like you're with us.
Definitely. And I mean, one little thing I wanted to little pump for myself quickly here.
Yeah.
I've got an upcoming live stream starting for Primal
cool.
Nomad, so I will put that out in a little announcement on the Instagram pages for both myself and Wodesman, and maybe in an episode if it comes out beforehand. But yeah, it's just something where you can come along, join me on a journey while I'm out in the woods or on a walk or
It's a great idea,
whatever, and ask me questions, come and learn with me, and yeah, hopefully you guys will join me. It'll be on Twitch and YouTube, so yeah, it'd be awesome to see some of you guys for the premiere, the first ever stream. So I'll
Love
keep you
that.
posted.
That's awesome. Well, I wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
Owen, thank you so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been so much fun. I think we all need another beer.
I reckon so.
We need to go and help the ladies dish up.
Yeah, I think
And
Yorkshire pudding time.
Yorkshire pudding time. We've got roast chicken. It's spit roasted for hours.
It has.
Emma's done her magic. She's
Roast
filled
potatoes.
it with lovely like herbs and butter. It should be absolutely delicious.
Got some homegrown parsnips in there.
Homegrown parsnips by Liam and Ellie, and yeah, it's just going to be sublime.
And
So
that hot chocolate Obi is going to be amazing.
yeah,
Some Bailey's hot chocolate.
Love it.
Coming up.
Let's do it.
we're going to go enjoy that, guys. You have a lovely rest of your evening, and speak to you guys in the next one.
Yeah. Ciao, ciao.
Bye, guys.
Bye.